and we're going to talk also about his methodology called MELE Flow. MELE is a holistic method that helps people develop self-awareness, discipline, and form healthy habits. The mission of MELE is to help people improve their quality of life by finding balance between mind, body, and spirit. And as we know, in this contemporary world, it's quite difficult to find that balance, right? His mission in this world is to push humanity forward. So in the past 12 years, he has started 5 different companies that have had in common creativity, social impact, and innovation. His spiritual journey began shortly after moving to Mexico City, after connecting with astrology, Vipassana meditation, silent retreats, and plant ceremonies. He started developing an interest in self-awareness and the power of journaling and helping people awaken to their true potential. And this last point, to help people awaken to their truest potential, it's something that's very aligned in LUAN. As you know, all the content that we have, the courses, the membership, the cast, the Show Your Fire collective art project, something that we are committed in LUAN is to awaken people in their truest potential, in their truest version of themselves. So in today's session, Change Your Habits, Change Your Mind, we will explore how to elevate our life with MELE, this new method to awaken our true potential by forming healthy habits that last. So we're going to discuss and discover why some habits work and why others don't work, right? In this session, we will explore the holistic method of MELE that stands for M as in meditation, E as in exercise, L as in learning, and expression as in communication. MELE's mission is to give you the tools you need to unleash the unlimited potential within you. And Alex will provide us with a framework to build more discipline, develop self-awareness, and manage our time more efficiently so that we can set a fertile ground to form healthy habits that last. And in this session, we will cover the following topics. What is not your purpose? Adapt your environment to achieve your dreams. Design your perfect routine. The art of achieving small things, that compound interest, right? If you start with 1% every day, then you have, at least 30x or 37x in a year. Unleash your superpowers, and the best way to achieve your dreams is to stop dreaming and start acting. So in this session, we invite you to gently bring your power back. We'll connect deeply to the place in your heart that feels that you're not living your best life, that you're not experiencing your truest potential. And we encourage you to have an open heart and to enjoy this experience. So Alex, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today with us. It's truly a pleasure.
Thank you, Marion, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Very nice to meet you. My name is Alex. As I said, I come from Madrid, Spain. And I have been in Mexico for the past 8 years. In the past, I have worked in different industries, mostly technology, communications, and innovation. And about 5 years ago, I was running an advertising agency here in Mexico. And I don't know if any of you work in the advertising industry, but it's an industry that really poisons the soul when it gets to a point where you're just trying to solve problems, to sell products that people don't need. And I was having kind of like the very big question about why am I, adding, like, how is this adding value in my life? And I was going through a depression. On the other hand, I had an agency, I had a team of people that were expecting me to kind of lead the project. So I was living in this dichotomy of, is there purpose in what I'm doing? And is this fulfilling? And I knew the answer was not, And Mexico has opened a very energetic and powerful spiritual path in my life. And one day, one woman came to the agency and she just told me one thing. She said, start writing. I didn't know her. I didn't know anything about her, but she just told me, start writing with a pencil, because graphite, which is the mineral that's inside a pencil, has the power to manifest anything that you desire. So just said that and she left. And from that day on, I started journaling in the morning, at night. And through this habit, the habit of writing, I started discovering different parts of me that were hidden. I started connecting with a purpose that was asleep. I started reading my story from my own words. You know, we live in the mind. We're always talking to ourselves here. But once we manage to put it on paper, it becomes a script. And for the past 2 or 3 years, journaling has been the habit that has led me into the other ones, such as meditation, reading, and exercise, which I have been practicing for the past 15 years. So I would like to share with you a small presentation where the idea is to give you a practical framework so that you can make the changes you need in your life to achieve all the objectives, all the purposes, and the dreams that you have. Most times, the problem is that we're trying to face something very big, something that's very far away, and we tend to keep it in a drawer. So my goal today is to give you a toolkit so that the dream that you have for tomorrow, you can start living it today. So without further ado, I'll share with you this presentation. Let me know in the chat if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Thank you.
This is wonderful, Alex, because also there is so many healing benefits and, healing powers that writing has. I don't know if you probably know the work of Julia Cameron of The Artist's Way. That it's about writing every morning so you can dump out kind of like this, all of the thoughts and like the monkey mind that we have that, keeps getting in the way.
Yes, 100%. To me, the most powerful thing about writing is that you only need a pencil and a white paper, So we tend to overcomplicate ourselves when it comes to improving our lives. Like, I want to, see this doctor or travel to this place, or we're always looking to find solutions outside of ourselves. And to me, writing a tool that showed me that all the answers are within you, all the solutions to your problems, It's just opening that doorway to show what's stopping you from getting where you want to be, So that's why I think journaling is a powerful tool, because it's very accessible and it only takes one step, which is open the journal and start writing.
Very practical.
Okay, so I would like to start with the word habit. What is a habit? So the definition of a habit is a behavior pattern acquired by frequent repetition or psychological exposure that shows itself in regularity or increased facility of performance. So habit, the key word here is frequent repetition. Any behavior or any action that we do in a frequent manner, such as brushing our teeth, tying our shoe, or watching the cell phone right out of bed. I don't know if you guys have entered in the realm of neuroscience, but this is a graphic representation of how neurons are making synaptic connections. Every time you see like the red light, means that 2 neurons are making a synaptic connection. So a habit, at the end of the day, has been that is in your brain, which means that it's already ingrained. The system, our machine, our body, our mind, tries to save energy. It's a very well-designed system. So habits are, in a way, shortcuts so that you don't have to think about it. So that's why when you wake up, and unfortunately most people take their cell phone and start going through their feed of Instagram or WhatsApp, you're not even thinking about it. It's already ingrained in your subconscious. So as I said, a habit is an action that's repeated frequently so that the synaptic connection is formed. How many of you, well, before I jump into that, like I said, there are good habits such as waking up and journaling, and also there are bad habits such as waking up and looking at your phone. And this is a key aspect here. It doesn't matter whether the habit is good or bad, the synaptic connection is strong. So that's why it's so important for you to identify unhealthy habits that you want to get in your life and really make it present. How many here have heard the bad news is that habits are very hard to get rid of. And this is coming back to the synaptic connection. Smoking, I don't know if any of you ever had of smoking cigarettes or know people smoke cigarettes, but it's one of these habits that's very hard to get rid of. Habits that are very hard to get rid of. Now, the good news is that you can replace a bad habit. You can replace a bad habit with a good habit. So if you have identified that one of your bad habits is looking at your cell phone in the morning, and you would like to integrate journaling, for instance, in your daily routine, you could replace your cell phone by a journal. So at the end of the day, there is this book called Atomic Habits. I'm sure some of you have read it.
Yes, it's a wonderful book.
Wonderful book. Mm-hmm. Throughout the whole framework that James Clears provide, he's talking about these rewards, you know. So if Instagram for reward for you, and way you're going to integrate journaling as a habit before doing what you know you cannot stop doing. How many here have heard that it only takes 21 days to form a new habit? Some of you. Well, this is completely wrong. This comes from in the 50s with plastic surgery, and basically they found out that after 21 days, the new patients were able to be comfortable with their new face. They got used to their new face, but this has nothing to do with habits. The latest study on average shows that to form a new habit, you need 66 days. And this was a study that was made over a 12-week period of 96 people throughout different habits. So basically anywhere from 2 to 8 months. It's really varied, but it depends on the lifestyle of the person. It depends on the type of habit that he or she is trying to implement and so forth. So today I would like to talk to you about a framework that's going hopefully to give you clarity on how you can basically incorporate any new habit into your life, but you can also make an analogy and achieve anything such as a goal, an objective, a purpose, or a dream. I call this framework PAM. The first P starts for purpose, direction. What do you want to achieve? Then, how can you adapt your environment to make that something viable? What plan are you going to take into action so that it's something that becomes a reality? And how are you going to measure your results? So let's jump into it. If you guys have any questions, let us know on the chat. Purpose. The purpose of life is a life of purpose, said Robert Bryan. So the first question is, what are you trying to achieve? What goal, what objective, what habit do you want to integrate into your daily life? That's the first thing you have to ask. You have to reflect, and you have to have this super clear. Define what's the objective. The second step is why. Why is it that you want to integrate that into your life? A very useful exercise is to visualize the outcome. So for instance, if you would like to integrate meditation into your day-to-day, visualize yourself meditating, sitting down. What are you wearing? What's your posture? Trick the brain to think that you're already doing it. The brain cannot differentiate between something that's happening and something that you're imagining. So it's super important that after you write down what's that goal, what's that objective, that you visualize it. Thirdly, when you have to set a deadline, you have to make it tangible. Sometimes when New Year comes, these becomes New Year's resolutions, and I'm going to learn a new language, and I'm going to learn how to play an instrument, and I'm going to travel to this place, and I'm going to do this other thing. And these resolutions, after 2 or 3 weeks, start evaporating. They just get hidden on top of work, on top of your daily life. So how can you get closer to that goal, to that habit, to that dream, if you put it on a calendar? So if you want to integrate journaling into your daily habits, put it on your schedule. You're putting on your schedule so many things. You're writing on your schedule meetings that you have with other people, calls, lunch, dinner, social events. Why not put your dreams into your schedule? It's a super simple trick that will help you make it visible, that will help you make it tangible. And then a super important question that any of you should ask yourselves is, okay, I know the objective, I know the goal I have. Now, what's stopping me from getting there? What's limiting me? What are these bad, unhealthy habits that are stopping me from getting where I want to be? For instance, if I'm trying to wake up early and I'm going to bed watching Netflix at 2 a.m., it's never going to happen. So how can I adapt my sleeping schedule to wake up early? Well, first, you have to have a regular sleeping schedule. So you have to identify what's stopping you from achieving that and make a list of what's limiting you. That's super important as well. So you have your list of goals, you have your list of dreams, and you have your list of limitations, your list of obstacles. What's stopping you from getting where you want to go? Any questions so far? No? Okay, let's jump into the first A, adapt. How can you adapt your environment to achieve your dreams, to achieve anything you want? Marie Kondo says that tidying is the act of confronting yourself. The first thing when you want to adapt your environment, you have to declutter your life of noise. And this decluttering is not only physical, it's also digital. Meaning, how can I declutter my desktop? You know, anytime I jump into my computer, my desktop is full of files, full of tabs. Start by cleaning your space, digital and physical. That's the first step. You want to adapt your environment so that you can achieve these habits that you want to integrate into your daily life. The second step is to organize. So one thing that helps me is to dedicate one space for each habit that I want to integrate. So if you want to start meditating, always meditate in the same place. If you want to start journaling, always journal in the same place. Have a space in your home, in your office that you dedicate to that habit. Make it your temple. Give it that energy, you know? It's super important that each ritual, each habit, each dream has its own energy, its own space. It's going to help you identify it, and you're going to see it every day. Every time you see that chair, every time you see that meditation cushion, you're going to say, hey, I need to meditate. It's going to remind you constantly that your habit is there for you to improve your life. And then there is this very studied rule called the 2-minute rule, which helps you tidy your room. For instance, if after having lunch, it's only going to take you 2 minutes to wash your dishes, do it. If it's going to take you under 2 minutes to clean your room, do it. It's about living and working in a space that's organized. That's going to help you have a fertile ground to plant all the seeds that you need to plant. The first thing is to declutter and organize. And the third thing is to make time. You know what's your goal. You know what's limiting you from getting to your goal. And now you're working to adapt your environment to make it something possible. But when is it going to happen? With MELE, which is a framework that we're going to jump into very shortly, the first advice that I've learned and that has helped me the most is having 2 meetings with myself, one in the morning and one at night. So if you have this time to reflect in the morning and you have this time to reflect at night, it's going to help you have more clarity within your day. So having these 2 meetings with yourself are going to help you plan what do you want to achieve in the morning and reflect at night. Did I make it? Did it happen? And if it didn't happen, why? Schedule them. It's important that when you see your calendar, you see you have a meeting with Julia, you have a work meeting in the office, you have lunch, and then you have time with yourself. And time with yourself occupies a slot in your calendar. Super important that you see your name competing against the other people. And it's going to come a point where you say, hey, I'm giving 8, 10, 11, 12 hours of my day to others, and I cannot give 15 minutes to myself. Why? But the only way you're going to make that realization is if you make it visible in your calendar. So schedule in your agendas time with yourself. Action. I don't know if you guys have heard about this term Kaisen. It was popularized in the Industrial Revolution in Japan. And Kai means change and Zen means for good. And basically, rather than looking for an abrupt change, what they kind of tapped into is compound effort day after day. Basically, the basis behind this philosophy of life is that if you improve 1% every day, at the end of the month, you will have improved by 30%. So basically, don't try to go for something huge, something you cannot achieve. Start with something small that you can do today. This is me, and there's my dream, very far away. And that's what happens when you don't have a plan. Your dream is far. Your dream is big, but your dream is far. How can you make your dream something more tangible? Make that habit that's far away something that's close to you. Start asking this question: what can I do today that will get one step closer to my dream? Again, what a day that will get me one step closer to my dream? Rather than think of your dream as something that brings today. If you want to start learning a new instrument, what can you do today that will get you there? And little by little, through this philosophy of compound interest, maybe if you've never played guitar and you want to start playing guitar, the first step that you can do today is find a guitar teacher. And that's your task for today. That's your goal. You know, maybe tomorrow you schedule a session with him or her. But the idea is that you start living your dream today and you take small, consistent steps to your dream. That's the only way that you're going to be able to achieve that. And when I say dream, I say habit, I say purpose, I say goal, anything that you want to get happening in your life, you need to start today. That's the most important part. Now, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a goal. So the first thing is write down a goal. Now, going back, you have your purpose, you have adapted your environment, you know the spaces in your environment that are going to help you achieve those habits. And now you need a plan of action. So what's that action step that you can take today? Write it down, put it on a post-it, and make sure it's visible. What is the outcome of you achieving that specific goal? Make sure you can see it on a constant basis. I use post-its all the time. I put those post-its on my computer. What's my goal for today? This is it, and do it. Write it down on paper. Super important to process the information and write it down. And the third is something that I call elephant mode. You will break some branches, but you will move forward. Don't think about it. Once you've decided about your dream, you've made the changes in your environment to get there, and you know the step you can take today to get there, Just do it. Don't think about it. You've already thought about it. Now it's time for acting. It's time for finding the path and doing. And lastly, I would like to jump into measuring. So basically, if there is not a sense of progress in your dream, you're going to give up. If you don't see that you're making progress, you're going to say, hey, it's too hard, I can't do it. So that's why it's so important for you to adjust the plan with these small, consistent steps that will show you that you're making progress every day. It's better to meditate for 1 minute than to not meditate. Sometimes we say, hey, yes, I want to meditate, but oof, I don't have time to meditate for 1 hour or 30 minutes or 10 minutes. Okay, it's fine. Meditate for 1 minute, but do it. And then tick it off. What are the metrics that are going to show you that you're making progress? Accountability. Sometimes willpower and discipline is hard when you're on your own. So how can you find an accountability partner, someone who may be a similar goal than you, which might be exercising, going for a run, changing diets, and find that person and trying to work with him or her, make sure that both of you work in a team to get that result. And lastly, practice. Practice, practice, practice. Anything needs practice on a basis. That's what's going to build, that's what's going to build this willpower. So I would like to review the framework before moving forward. So basically, we talked about finding your goal, finding your dream, what might be dream, what might be purpose. Once you have that, what's stopping you from getting there? What's limiting you from improving your life when it comes to sleep, when it comes to food? Hey, I would like to change my diet. Okay, what's your shopping list look like? What food do you have at home? Hey, I would like to drink more water. Then make sure you buy a 2-liter water bottle and you leave it next to you. And until you don't finish that water bottle, you cannot go to sleep. So you have to hack your environment. You have to adapt your environment to make that you're able to live that dream. The next step is action. And action means what can I do today to get a step closer to that dream? And the last step is measure. Can I find someone or something, an app maybe, that helps me keep track of my progress, that shows me that I'm making progress? Now, I'd like to talk to you about MELE. MELE is the project now, and it's a more holistic framework that combines body and soul. It's have an English version. I'll leave with you a link on the chat. If you guys are interested, you can register and pre-order for the English version. And MELE is a method that has helped me incorporate healthy habits. Now, the journal looking at right now is the last version. I wanted to show you and I wanted to share with you how the first version of this project looked like. So it was like this little booklet. And just to connect this with the framework I showed you before, it was a framework that I designed for myself. Through journaling, I realized that I needed a lot of space because I had a journal for meditation, a journal for my diary, a journal for work, and I couldn't travel with all these journals. So I decided a framework to all my growth in one place. And when I did that, I said, hey, maybe this has use for other people as well, because it was helping me a lot. So the first thing I did is, okay, put the idea into paper. What's the framework look like? And I gave this away to 30 people. They gave it back to me with feedback, and I kept iterating, kind of like on a lean startup type of methodology. And now this is how the journal looks like. So you have a white side and a black side, and it's basically 2 journals in one, and I'll go over it. But overall, MELE is a method that helps you develop self-awareness, discipline, and form healthy habits. And before I was talking about this accountability partner, how can you build that discipline that sometimes is hard to create it on your own? MELE is a way that will help you to keep track of your growth. And you do it on any journal. You know, it's about sitting down and writing what's my goal today and making sure you achieve that goal. MELE stands, as Mariam said before, for meditation, exercise, learning, for reading, and expression through journaling. And these are the 4 habits that have helped me the most during these past 3-4 years. What I found out is that any day I managed to do these 4 habits before my day started, the day changed completely. Like you build a bulletproof system for anything that might happen during the day. Now, the mission that we have with this project is to improve people's quality of life, finding that balance, not only focusing about your body, not only focusing about your mind, but focusing about mind, body, and spirit. If you change the way you start your day changes. And the reason that the design of the journal is white and black is because, remember before I said it's super important that you have 2 meetings with yourself right when you wake up and right before going to sleep. So the white journal, the white side of the journal is designed for the morning. It's designed for you to write down when you wake up. It's designed for you to design your morning routine. That's something that you can do on a white journal as well. You just have to figure out, how do you want to live your day? How do you want to design your day through journaling? What we have done is created a framework where the first question we ask is, what did you sleep last night? To keep a record of your dreams. How are you feeling today? To develop self-awareness. And then we included QR codes that will allow you to access to the content, which are meditation, exercise routines, reading exercises, and so forth. The idea is to introduce these habits to people in a very practical way. And I think practical is the key word here, because sometimes habits are very hard for one to include into their life. So the only way you can do it is with tools, and there are many tools. This is only one tool, but tools that are practical, that help you include this habit into your daily life. And lastly, we ask you to write down your personal goals for the day and your professional goals for the day. And it's important that you separate personal and professional. Put personal first. If you're doing well with yourself, then everything else is going to flow in your life. Well, like I said, we also tried to make it easy for people to access the content. And at night, the idea is to help people sleep better. Sleep, like I said before, is the basis for you to build any habit, for you to achieve anything. If you have a consistent sleep schedule, you have a fertile ground to plant the seeds that you need to get to where you want to get. So how can you design your night ritual? And you have to make it a ritual. You have to make it something such as a ceremony. So I'm sure many of you wake up in the morning with an alarm clock. But how many of you go to bed with an alarm clock? Have you ever heard this? The possibility of having an alarm that tells you when to go to sleep. It's a super, super important part of the day, because that way you can prepare your body, you can prepare your mind to go to sleep in the right mindset, in the right soul set, in the right body. So my advice to you is, if sleep is something that you're having trouble with, start by adjusting your sleep schedule and start by going to bed every night at the same time. And you will say, yes, I would like to go to bed at 10 p.m. or at 9 p.m., but I'm not tired. Perfect. Just wake up earlier the next day. And then that accumulated tiredness, and if you exercise, it's going to help it, will help you go to bed early and will help you go to bed more tired. That's the most important part. The journal is designed to help you practice gratitude. Every day is a different day. Every day is a different agenda. We can never know what to expect. But if every night you go to sleep practicing gratitude, being thankful for what happened, being thankful for all the positives in your day, then you're going to shift your mindset. Next morning, you're going to wake up with that positive thought, and that's going to drive your next day. So journaling is a super powerful tool, especially if you use it correctly. Before going to bed, just practice gratitude. What made today special? What's that one thing that made today special? I don't care if you had a terrible meeting or if you had an argument with your family. That doesn't matter. What made today special? Think on positive. And then you can keep track on your water intake, on your food, and plan your next day. That's something super important. Empty your thoughts so that you don't go to bed with all your mind and noise in the head. What do you want to achieve today? Write 1, 2, or 3 things at most. It's going to help you sleep better, I promise. At the end of every week, the journal is 1 moon cycle, which is like 4 weeks. You get to reflect. So that's something super important. We were saying before in the framework, right? So the framework, you write your purpose, you adapt your environment. What action steps are you taking and how are you measuring it? How do you know that you're making progress? Did you meditate today? Did you journal today? Did you read today? Did you do what you wanted to do? If you lose that track, if you don't keep track of your progress, then your habit is going to evaporate like all those New Year's resolutions that never see an end. So the most important part is that before you go to bed, you take a white piece of paper and you write down, what are you thankful for? And did you achieve what you set out to achieve for the day? The moon has an energy. It drives the water in the ocean, the menstrual, the cycle in women. The moon also regulates the water in our bodies. And I've been working with the energy of the moon, and one of the ideas of MELE is that you start with new moon. Why? New moon is when in the agricultural industry, they plant the seeds. So the first week is a week of planting, of asking, what do you want to see happening in your life for this month? What would you like to manifest? So use this first week of new moon to plant those seeds. The second week, you have to water them. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to start acting. You have to follow your plan. You have to persist and you have to observe. During new moon, which is the third week, what can you adjust in your daily life so that everything becomes clear to you, so that you take away, you declutter what's not adding value and you adapt. And lastly, collect everything that you planted for the first week. Integrate those habits into your lifestyle. Practice gratitude and reflect. And keep on going, because like I said, to integrate a new habit in your life, it's not going to happen in 1 month. It's not going to happen in 2 months. It's going to happen over time. And you first have to make that synaptic connection. But rather than thinking that if you've never meditated before and you want to start meditating, don't start meditating for 10 minutes. Start meditating with 3 minutes. And tomorrow you meditate for 4. And after tomorrow you meditate for 5. Make it easy for you. Don't make it complicated for you. Lastly, I'd like to show you a video of MELE, which is MELE Flow, which is the practice that embodies this framework, which is 30 minutes of daily exercise, 10 minutes of meditation, 5 minutes of journaling, and 5 minutes of reading. Basically, in 50 minutes, you're able to do these 4 habits. One of you may ask, why meditation, why exercise, why reading, why journaling? Well, you know, we live in very complicated times. We live in times where we're constantly stimulated by everything outside of us, by all these impulses, people trying to rob us from our attention, people trying to reach us, people trying to kind of steal attention away from us. We're lacking self-awareness. We think we know ourselves, but we never stop to ask, who am I? What do I want? Why am I doing what I'm doing today? So journaling is the first tool that's going to help you make that first step into the unknown. It's going to help you understand who you really are and what do you really want without outside or external influences. Meditation is the discipline and the work to focus, concentrate, and have clarity of mind. Don't have that monkey mind, that thought that's always going to the next thing, chasing the next thing. Stop, reflect, observe. Why am I going there? What am I trying to get? What's stopping me from getting there? Coming back to the framework. If you don't read, meaning if you don't feed your intellect with new ideas, your mind is always going to be on loop with the same old story that you keep telling yourself. So you have to try to open up a bit your realm of consciousness. You have to open up to new ideas, to new people, and try to read 1 page per day or read 2 pages per day. It's better to read 1 page per day than not to read at all. And exercise, your body is your temple. So finally, if you don't move, if you don't take care of your nutrition, if you don't take care of your sleep, everything that I talked about, it doesn't matter. So your temple, your vehicle, you have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of your mind and then connect with your inner purpose and use journaling as a tool that you only need a pencil and a piece of paper to start writing the dream that you want to achieve. I would like to end with the word discipline. And Krishnamurti, in his many books and his many talks, he said that discipline comes from the word disciple. And a disciple is not one who copies. A disciple is not one who imitates. A disciple is one who learns on a constant basis. So with that thought, I'd like to open up for questions and thank you all for being here. Very nice to meet you all. I hope this gave you some insight into the complicated world of habits. And I don't know if there are any questions of the chat, but
yes, we have many. Thank you so much, Alex, for this wonderful information. And not only what Alex is mentioning, but as there are also other authors, you know, that also have kind of like make these type of methodologies quite important, right? We have, you know, James Clear, as Alex mentioned, about atomic habits. There's Julia Cameron. And the thing that we like a lot about Alex in LUAN is that he synthesizes in easy actionable items with this methodology, right? And we've all been in that situation. We've heard there's so many scientific studies about the life-changing benefits that meditation has, right? And we know how excruciatingly painful the first 30 seconds of meditating can be, right? When you're sitting there, you're thinking about all the tens of thousands of things that you need to do before starting, right? And I like, you know, his Alex methodology because it's easy, it's practical, it's narrowed, and it's easy to use. So it's also kind of like quite integrated with what we believe here in LUAN. So thank you so much, Alex, for sharing this valuable knowledge and for sharing all of these tips for these, you know, life-changing habits that we know that build, you know, from scratch to reduce anxiety, such as decluttering your life, right? Depression as well, no? And most importantly, to finding your purpose. So we've received many questions. So I'm gonna address them in order. The first one, could you say again, what is a 2-minute rule?
Yes. So the 2-minute rule means that it has to do with organizing your space. It has to do with organizing your desktop, digital and physical. So any action that takes less than 2 minutes, don't think about it and do it. If your room is not tidy, if your bed is not made, just make it. It's going to take you less than 2 minutes. The 2-minute rule can also be applied to washing your dishes, to cleaning your space. You know, just dedicate 2 minutes to cleaning. And anytime you see you finish eating and it's going to take me less than 2 minutes, okay, I do it. That's just going to help you keep your space organized. But the 2-minute rule has another use, which is when you want to start a habit, start only doing it for 2 minutes. So if you've never meditated before, I'm going to start with 2 minutes. If hard for you to open a book and start reading because you think I don't have time to read, just open a book and read for 2 minutes and use those 2 minutes to get you started. Remember before I said about your big dream that's far away, that's unreachable? How can you make that dream something that you're living today? So live that day at least for 2 minutes today. That's my only ask, you know. Just try to make that compromise with yourself, that you will spend 2 minutes of your day living that dream today. So that's not future and that's present.
Totally. And also complementing a little bit of that with what you were saying, Alex, it reminds me of some of those have been talking about how beliefs affect our habits. So if you start working with your beliefs and kind of like embodying the person that you want to become, then habits start becoming easier. And you can, comment on that too. For example, if you want to be, I don't know, a person who exercises, then you need to, describe yourself as that new identity that you are a fitness person, and then start doing that work. Or like, for example, you want to be a public speaker. So then just start, feeling as a public speaker. And eventually your habits will not at the same time will be aligned with what you're doing. And that's implemented in the 2-minute rule.
Exactly. 100%.
And another question that we received is, how can I organize personal space? That's a big topic because we are constantly bombarded with clutter. We have so many things that we don't use that sometimes they have more of a negative impact than a positive impact.
Yes, there are many ways to tackle this. The best thing is to start, like I said, by first asking yourself, is there any new habit that you would like to integrate into your life, and try to dedicate a space, a physical space for that habit to happen, So if journaling is going to take place in your life, find a spot in your bedroom, in your house, anywhere, and make sure that's the only place where you write, dedicate a specific space to each new habit that you want to integrate. When it comes to cleaning your room or cleaning your kitchen, it's the same. Go before, do everything in one take. Say, hey, I'm going to spend 5 minutes cleaning today, and tomorrow I'll spend another 5 minutes, and do it as something progressive. It's something constant, Every day, try to spend at least 5 minutes decluttering either your desktop, your room, your bedroom, your kitchen, having, all the ingredients, if you like to cook, in the right place. Make it easy for you. It's just about spending a little time every day to organize, and that's going to make your life so much simpler, so much easier. I don't know if you guys know that Steve Jobs only had one color t-shirt and one pair of jeans. He woke up every morning and he put the same t-shirt and the same pair of jeans because he didn't want to make decisions in the morning. He only wore that because he knew he would have to make so many decisions during the day that the simpler for him, the better. So this applies to you. Make it simple for you. Get rid of the trash, get rid of anything that's not adding value, get rid of the noise, and then dedicate one space for every new habit. Build a small temple for your meditation, for your journaling, for your reading, for your exercise.
Totally. Thank you, Alex. Vivek is asking, can the first few slides be shown for a while? And David Clark is asking if we can send the recording. After the session ends, we're going to upload the whole video, the whole session on our YouTube channel. So everyone can access it there for free, and you can, re-watch it and check also again all of the slides. And advancing, sorry, yes.
What slides exactly? Are we talking about the framework or?
It was asking about the first slide.
I'll go through what is a habit.
Yes, Hassel, could you please send our YouTube channel, please? It's called LUAN Emotional Museum on YouTube.
Yeah, I think they must be referring to the framework. So basically, finding your purpose, adapting your environment, having a plan, action steps, and how can you measure it? Purpose, what's your objective? What is the outcome? How can you make it tangible?
Mm-hmm.
Adapting yourself, declutter, make time. Action, what can you do today? What's that goal? How can you make it visible so that you see it every day? Super important. And elephant mode, straight, without thinking. And finally, measuring. How can you make sure that you are making progress? What are those metrics that are going to help you make progress? Do you have an accountability partner? I think someone asked what happens if you don't have an accountability partner.
Yes, that's one of the questions. Mm-hmm.
MELE is your accountability partner, meaning any journal is your accountability partner. You are your best accountability partner. You just have to be very honest with yourself, and you have to practice every day. What is it that I want to achieve today? And did I make it happen? It really depends, like there are apps as well. There are apps that set reminders. So for instance, you can, if you don't want to download an app, you can set reminders in your calendar when you want that habit to happen, and that's going to trigger the moment for you to do it. So for instance, if you would like to start exercising twice a week, put it on your calendar and make sure an alarm clock rings 30 minutes before so that you can get ready. So your accountability partner can be yourself, can be your cell phone, or a person that has a common objective. And if you don't have one who has a common objective, ask a friend or ask a family member to be your accountability partner, and give something in exchange, which can be, I don't know, lunch, food, but make sure there is like an energetic exchange, but have that person remind you what you have to do. Another trick that helps is if you make it public. For instance, this week I'm going to start meditating, and you post it on social media, then you get out that fear of doing it, and you have that, the accountability partner becomes your community, becomes the people who are going to judge if you don't do it. So it's a way of hacking your behavior to make sure you do what you really want to do.
Mm-hmm. Totally amazing, Alex. Thank you so much. And also Stacy's asking, if you're starting, how much time should you invest in each letter? Is it the same amount of time for meditation, for exercise, for learning, and for expression, or would you recommend differently? Or what would be the minimum necessary?
Well, I think someone said, I don't have time to meditate for 10 days. And they said to him, then you should meditate for 3 hours. Really the first question you should ask yourself is, how much time are you willing to give yourself today? And if you're willing to give yourself 1 hour, then try to divide that hour in something that makes sense to you. If you've never meditated before, try a 5-minute meditation. If you don't exercise very often, exercise for 10 minutes. If you don't read very often, read for 10 minutes. Make it very simple for you. So if you say, hey, today I want to give myself 1 hour, sure, you break down that hour with achievable small steps. The idea with habits is that it's compound. Every day you start adding 1 page. Today I read 5 pages. Tomorrow I'll read 6 pages. Today I went for a 10-minute run. Tomorrow I'll go for a 15-minute run. What happens when we try to achieve many things at the same time is that we get overwhelmed. We set our expectations very high. We don't achieve our expectations and we give up. So you have to set yourself for success, not set yourself for failure. And the best way to do it is with small steps. So like I said before, 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night. Start with that for 1 week. For the first 15 minutes, you can meditate for 5 minutes and journal for 10. For the last 15 minutes, you can maybe do a small stretch or yoga sequence for 10 minutes and read for 5 minutes. As simple as that. Start with 30 minutes a day. And then if that's easy, and if that comes easy, then you're going to keep increasing. Today, I meditate for 1 hour, I read for 1 hour, I exercise for 1 hour, and I journal for 1 hour. It takes 4 hours of my day, but something very interesting happens, which is once you start paying attention to your time, to what you really value, and you see the impact it has in your life, then you're more precious with your time and how you give your time to other people. Since this presentation was pretty short, I didn't have time to dive into all the topics I wanted to, but one of them is learning how to say no. Learning how to say no to other people is saying yes to yourself. Every time you say yes, it has an opportunity cost. What are you saying no to, So my advice is say yes to yourself, say no to other people, and be very cautious with your time. Invest your time properly so that at the end of the day, you're going to feel fulfilled, that you're spending time on your well-being, that you're spending time in getting to know yourself better. So the more you practice, the better, but start with something small.
Totally. I'm going to address the last two questions to be respectful for everybody's time. And Samita is asking, Alex, why does the moon negatively affect us?
Could you repeat that question? Sorry.
Samita is asking, Alex, why does the moon negatively affect us?
The moon. Okay. Well, the moon has a complete different influence in each and every one of us. New moon for me is a moment of a lot of energy, of a lot of movement, of a lot of action. And some people have bad dreams during new moon. Some people have don't remember the dreams during new moon or have bad sleep. The truth here, and I don't know if you know or you've heard about Ayurveda, and like one of the oldest schools of medicine in the world that came from the Veda. But you have to know yourself, and journaling will help you keep track on how the moon is affecting you specifically. So if you're keeping track of your journaling in new moon, in full moon, and to the next new moon, then you're going to be able to find patterns. I've done already, I don't know, 13 or 14 moon cycles of working MELE on a constant basis every day. And the more I do it, the more I get to know how the moon is affecting me. And I can plan the month with a time for creative activities, a time for administrative activities, a time for social activities. So there is not a simple answer because each and every one of us have a complete different background, a complete openness to energy. But if you feel a connection with the moon and you would like to try it, my best advice is just journal how you feel, write down your dreams, and how everything kind of is evolving for you. I'm going to post a link here in the chat. It's a very small form where you can register your email. And we are working on developing an English version for the journal. So if any of you are interested in pre-ordering the English version, so we'll make sure to have your email there. So that's, I think my best advice is start journaling and start observing yourself. How are you reacting to other people? How are you behaving? How are you sleeping? So use journaling to see how the moon affects you and then work on that. Amazing,
Alex. Thank you so much. For the other extra questions that we're not able to address, please send them directly to Alex. And, Alex, if you want to share your contact information so people can contact for follow-up. Thank you so much, Alex, for sharing this wonderful knowledge. Thank you, everyone who's joined the session from around the world. We had an incredible community here connecting from many different wonderful countries. And if you want to dig deeper in this conversation with Alex, we will have a podcast episode with him next week. In LUAN's podcast, we've explored topics like how your gut impacts your emotions, how to connect with your authenticity and spark authentic curiosity. We've talked about peace circles and conflict resolution techniques, how to access our limited essence, the science of serendipity and the process of self-creations, among many other topics. So stay tuned for next episode with Alex, and Hazel is going to share in the chat our podcast link, so you can check it out, all the content that we have in our podcast. And we want to share with you the new content we've created. We've dreamt of this conversation, and now it's happening. So long ago, we had the inspiration to serve through art and share our passion for expansion and emotional well-being, with others willing to actively participate in deepening human consciousness. Thanks to our unwavering will and universal conditions, we can connect to you with the most authentic of our intentions to elevate your life through art and reflection. This journey we would love to embark together will forever change us both. We will be able to deliver the high-end content that nurtures the genius within, satisfying one of our strongest desires, a deep exploration of emotions. So every Sunday, it's called the Sunday Stash of Marvels, you will receive an email with your Sunday package. This is a mix of inspiration and intellectual detonations in a multi-format combo: audio, video, image, text, and everything in between. You can enjoy it in one sitting to kick off, or a microdose it throughout the following days. We'll give the attendees of this session the opportunity for free. It's a membership of $5, but for attendees of this session, it will be for free. And if you want to take advantage of these, please write an email to a@luanmuseoemocional.com. Hazel is going to send the email to the chat. Just write us an email and you will get access to the membership for free. And our next LUAN Live session will be on July 27th with speaker, facilitator, and founder of Orquestando, Michael Smith. In this session, we will explore clarity as the antidote to confusion. In the world we're living in, feels like we are confused and making decisions kind of like feels like a tough road, right? So what is clarity anyways, right? Clarity is about easy to see, to understand, to imagine, to trust. It is about asking questions. Make sure you change your questions, asking what you want to find out, and be curious about it. So if you want to solve a problem, you need to change your mindset with which the problem was created. So clarity to recognize when you're on your own path and not somebody else's dream. So tune in on our social media newsletter for this exciting session on July 27th. We encourage you to subscribe to our newsletter and follow us on Instagram and YouTube for the latest news. Thank you again, Alex. Thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic afternoon, a great evening, and a wonderful rest of the day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in a few weeks. Thank you.
Forget